Welcome to the Hot Seat Interview. I'm your host, Maggy Martinez. This is the show where voters hear directly from the candidates seeking public office. Today, our guest is Colonel retired Pam DeLancy, Democratic candidate for Georgia's 10th Congressional District. Colonel DeLancy has served more than 3 decades in the United States Army, worked in military medical leadership, and is campaigning on issues including healthcare access, veteran service, economic opportunity, and public safety. Our goal today is to help voters understand where she stands on the issue that affects you and your family and your community. So let's dive in.
Present Starbound Studios starring Maggy Martinez and the Hot Seat Interview.
So welcome, Pamela, to the Hot Seat Interview.
My name is Pam DeLancy, and thank you so much, Maggie, for having me here. I'm excited to be sitting here today in the hot seat.
Oh, this is gonna, mommy, this is gonna get hot, because so much is happening in our nation that we have to work on, right?
Absolutely.
And our first question is because in your platform, you want to develop a social bill of rights. What specific rights will you include in this bill?
Thank you so much for asking me that. And I just want to say to the American people that we need to modernize and step forward for the 21st century. So I support a social bill of rights. And what will that entail? The right to a living wage, the right to affordable health care, the right to retirement security, the right to affordable housing, the right to education and workforce development, the right to affordable child care and family caregiving support, and also the right to meaningful employment. I am looking at us moving individuals out of poverty and into economic independence because a strong nation is built on strong families.
Well, I wrote a book. It's called The Secrets of Campaigning, So You Think You Could Run. 40 years of experience. Buy it for the candidates that are running for office. Buy it for your friends or buy it for yourself. That way you know exactly what a candidate goes through, right, Pam? Because
yes,
it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. And don't forget, you could find it in Amazon. It's only $25. It helps this show to what? To continue that conversation. Also, if you feel it in your heart to give a donation, visit starboundpr.com, send a donation because we need to buy equipment. We need to keep with internet and all the technical part of a show of this magnitude. I want to say thank you to AJ Jane that sent a huge donation to the show. I really am from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, because with that, we did a lot. Well, Pam, affordability. Minimum wage.
Yes.
We really have to have a living wage that is not happening right now. So what is your take on what you pursue in Congress to change this?
Well, Maggie, number one, you're absolutely right. The federal minimum wage has not changed since the year 2009.
Wow.
And it's currently set at $7.25. Due to the increased cost of housing, food, gas, insurance, how can anyone in America live on $7.25? So I am proposing that we advocate for a living wage. A living wage would incorporate various standards that would include inflation. So what I'm saying, the minimum living wage should start at $20 an hour. And I know some people said, well, there's no way we can pay for that. We can pay for anything we want to pay for. The taxpayers have the money, so the taxpayers need to be receiving the money back. We need to establish a system that is going to provide economic conditions that families can sustain themselves independent of the government.
That's excellent. Well, universal health care, the pathway that we have right now for Medicaid in the state of Georgia, you are required either to work or volunteer works. But if you're a mother of 3 girls or 3 boys,
yes,
how are you going to pay for daycare and to work 20 hours, which is, I understand, is the minimum requirement to receive Medicaid, that doesn't add up.
No.
So what is your take in terms of universal health care?
I totally support universal health care because every American should have access to affordable health care. But right here in Georgia, we have a lot of low-income individuals that are not able to access Medicaid because Georgia never expanded Medicaid. Georgia went on a different plan, which the one you mentioned, the Georgia Pathway.
Yeah.
But the Georgia Pathway right now is connected to Medicaid, and only 17,000 Georgians are entitled to that, are utilizing that particular plan. If Georgia were to expand Medicaid, we would cover 400,000 Georgians.
Oh, that's excellent.
Also, with that, we would be able to compensate physicians. We would also be able to keep rural hospitals open because now they have the sustainable income coming in to help them. So we need to move forward to the 21st century, and we need to help. And healthcare is not a privilege. It is a necessity of life.
Definitely. Well, Social Security Trust Fund. This is a big one. And what proposal will you support to strengthen Social Security when you get to Congress?
You know, this is huge, Maggie, to believe it. In the year 2034, ages 65 and over will outnumber individuals 18 and below. So what is the first thing we need to do? We need to propose raising the wage cap because the wage cap right now is at $184,000. But if we raise it to $245,000, it may not totally fix Social Security, but it definitely would put a nice chunk of money. Therefore, we would not have to raise the age of retirement. Neither will we have to deduct right now the proposal $500 from Social Security checks. How many individuals in the United States that's living on Social Security can live with $500 being deducted? They can't. So we need to raise that wage.
And something here doesn't add up because we are spending how many billions in this war?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So instead of investing so much in a war, why we don't put it in Social Security to help
Yes,
the
I agree
citizens
100%.
of the U.S.?
Yes.
Well, you're a retired colonel from the Army, and veterans are an important part of your campaign.
Yes.
We see that they're cutting benefits. We see that this administration really wants to, I don't know why, but it is what it is. And what federal policy will you support to improve employment opportunity for veterans and protect their benefits?
You know, that's a very important question. You know, after a veteran has served this country, they should not come back to their communities and be unemployed. So what I am proposing is that we guaranteed employment to individual veterans when they come back. We also support them in getting training for community employment that is going to support their communities. There is no veteran coming back that should have to struggle after serving this country.
Well, your military record has become part of a public discussion during your campaign.
Yes.
What would you like voters to know about military service, and how has this experience prepared you for the position?
I can tell you, I started in the military as a PV2. I retired as a colonel, and my last 6 years of that service was in the Pentagon. I was responsible for medical readiness of service members and looking at the health care benefits for veterans. I am more than qualified and prepared for this position. I believe in serving people and not myself. It's always been others first for me.
Well, you know, Puerto Rico continues the debate about his political future and to become a state. Do you support Puerto Rico's statehood, which you know what's happening when they're trying to get the U.S. citizenship away? What is your take about that?
I totally support Puerto Rico if that's what the citizen of Puerto Ricos would like. But I would tell you, I would think that Puerto Rico had better act on this sooner than later. This needed to be proposed to the Congress immediately because what they're proposing is to end birthright citizenship for territories, for future births in those territories. So those individuals born will not be American citizens automatically. So if Puerto Rico is going to become a state, they need to act on it now. And I totally support whatever Puerto Rico decide to do for their future generation.
So the bottom line here is that they were not able to eliminate the citizenship for those kids that born under undocumented immigrants. So do you think this is another way of doing this?
Absolutely. I think everything that's being done during this administration is intentional. There is an underlying plan for everything. So at one way or another, they're going to go after what they consider to be undocumented individuals. And I would like to say those individuals in this country have worked, they have paid into our Social Security system, they have contributed through their skills, and I think it is inhumane the way we're treating them right now.
Well, Georgia voters are paying attention to the governor's race, and
Yes.
we have our nominee, which is Keisha Lance Bottom. She's running for governor for the state of Georgia. How do you view the policy differences between your priority and those of gubernatorial candidate like Rick Jackson on issues such as healthcare, affordability, and economic policy?
Well, number one, there are lots of differences between myself and Rick Jackson, but I believe one of the most important things is I have not heard him state that he will expand Medicaid, which Keisha Lance Bottoms has said she would do for the Georgians. He's also not a proponent of raising the minimum wage.
Oh, no?
You know, because he is said he wants to be the best governor for President Trump.
Oh, not for the people of Georgia.
Not for the people of Georgia. So his commitment is not to the people. His commitment is to Trump. And so when we go to the polls to vote, please look at the platforms, see what and how it is going to hurt or benefit your families for voting for Rick Jackson.
Well, somehow we are under the idea that a vote is not important. Can you tell the people out there how important it is?
You know, I would have to say voting is extremely important, and your vote does count. And when you do not vote or choose not to vote, you're voting or you're giving a vote to the other side. So if we're going to unite our country, if the only way we can do that at this time is for everyone to get out and vote and make your voice heard.
Well, housing, that's a big concern. Affordable housing. We haven't defined yet what's affordable housing. Because,
Exactly. What is it?
Yeah, what is it? Because a house that costs $200,000 or a town hall apartment
Yes.
that costs $200,000, that's not really affordable
It is
housing.
not.
So what is in your platform for housing?
You know, Maggie, to tell you the truth, they just passed a huge affordable housing bill. But if you do not improve or increase the wages, what is the use of the bill?
Right.
Because individuals still cannot take advantage of that opportunity because it all boils down to the economy. It boils down to individuals being able to support themselves and their families. And they cannot do that if we do not increase their wages.
Well, one problem that all women are facing, especially if they have children right now, is child care. What is in your platform for child care? Because a woman that has 3 kids and have to pay $2,000 in child care, it doesn't make ends meet. How can we help them?
You know, that's a great question, but Mag, I can tell you that is a two-pronged question at this point because due to the aging population, individuals are not only suffering with child care, they're also suffering how they're going to provide elderly care. And so when you look
that's
at
right.
Absolutely. So, you know, you're looking at individuals, parents have to be taken care of. So now not only is the single parent taking care of the 3 kids, how does she also support elderly care for her aging parents? So I am proposing that We need to provide grants that would cover total costs, and we can also use that for employment opportunities. You know, if we want to increase employment, we're going to need individuals to provide that care. It's a great opportunity. It's a win-win for the American people. We employ individuals that will specialize in child care and elderly care. We pay them a living wage, and therefore we put those mothers back to work.
Well, your Congressional District 10 includes Barrow, Oconee, Walton, Henry, part of Stockbridge and Locust Grove, Newton, Greene County, Athens, Clark counties. The infrastructure of this county, especially when it comes to internet, what is your plan in order to work with that?
You know, that's great. I can tell you, Georgia District 10 is really two separate. You have a suburban area and you have a very rural area. And in order for us to expand Medicare or Medicaid to those individuals out there, we will have to do broadband infrastructure. I would support them getting broadband infrastructure because it's a win-win for the community. Not only will it put internet in the homes of individuals, of parents, and also students now will have access to the internet. But furthermore, to further expand on that, healthcare. Now we can provide telemedicine and telehealth. So everything is one big cycle. You can't fix one problem without fixing the other. You know, we have to look at this as a comprehensive plan. And that's why I am proposing what I think will fix these issues by bringing everything under one umbrella known as the Real Deal Act. We need to look at our communities and how we are going to look at wherever and meet them exactly where they are in life right now.
Your district has farms.
Yes.
What the farmers are saying about all these immigrants that are taken away from the farms and they cannot harvest or cultivate the land?
Well, the farmers are saying a lot of things. Fertilizer and diesel prices are eating them out of the budget. So that, I mean, first, it's always goes back to the economy and the money. You know, that is tearing them up. But also, with them not having workers, I actually met a gentleman in his driveway, and he was actually one of the managers on one of the farms that collect some of this agriculture that we need in our communities. And he said, hey, you know, we don't have that support anymore. They're all gone. He said, and my boss came to me, and he's about 6 foot. And he goes, they want me to do it. He goes, I went out there and worked for 1 week. I'm done. I quit. I cannot do that. That is too hard for me. I cannot bend over. And until they get some more help, I don't know how they're going to pick their fruits and vegetables.
So President Trump got upset because Congress did not approve the SAVE Act. So, but we heard something else, how the SAVE Act was introduced into another bill. Can you tell us about that and how the SAVE Act will affect the voting rights?
You know, the SAVE Act is very serious. And so what happened, in order to get the SAVE Act approved, Congress actually put the SAVE Act in the National Defense Authorization Act for 2017. So it has been approved. And what is going to happen for individuals, we already use ID. We use our driver's license when we go. But now you will have to have another certified documentation, such as your passport or your birth certificate. And for a lot of individuals, that is not going to be an easy task. So that will keep individuals from voting. But I'm encouraging everyone today, look for your documents, go out, do not let them deter you from having your right to stand up for what is right, and that is your right to vote and to have your voice heard.
Well, immigration is a huge issue right now in the U.S. What we're seeing is inhumane. Due process is not there. They're building more detention centers. The SAR that we have right now working with that, he has, I don't know, I think an investigation should be in place because before he went into office, he was appointed to office, he had a huge contract.
Yes.
And not only that, he was able to get $1 million for President Trump's campaign. So tell me about immigration. This has become a business.
Immigration has become a business, and it's really unfortunate that it is. And the United States, we have prided ourselves on treating people with dignity and respect. We have actually sanctioned other countries for treating their citizens less humanely. And now, United States are doing the exact same thing.
Every single day.
So every single day. And so, initially, the goal was to pick up criminals, those individuals that were here illegal and were making our communities unsafe. But now we're seeing that's not the goal anymore. The goal is to pick up anyone they think do not have the proper documentation to be here. And we're pulling the rugs from under people without any notice. We're destroying families. And what are we going to be? If you take away parents and leave their American-born citizens here in the United States, their kids, what is going to happen to them? Who is going to provide care? Who's going to educate them? If we can find money for those detention centers, then we can take that same money and put it back into our communities, not only to make it safe, but to develop a process, a legal process to get individuals processed out of this country in the most dignified, respectful, and humanely way possible.
Well, the war. Oh, the war. It certainly is costing us a lot of money. Congress never approved the war.
Yes.
When you get there, how can you work with this?
Maggie, as I would definitely like to walk in there with my big cape on and say, I'm going to save the day. But that is a fast-moving train that has left the station. How do we reel in the war? Because even though Congress didn't approve it on the front end, it started and they approved it. At the end of the day, it has been approved by Congress. And the war was told initially that it was going to end in 2 to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And now we're looking at months, maybe years, because without an exit plan, there's no easy way to leave any country when you go into it. And now, if you look at the new NDAA, the National Defense Authorization, they have approved that defense bill for $1 trillion.
Oh, my God.
Imagine how,
if
that $1 trillion was spent on the American citizens, everyone in the United States could be pulled out of poverty. They could be self-sufficient. They could be independent. We would have universal health care, and we would be one very happy country at this moment. But right now, they have taken our taxpayers' dollars to funnel it other place, like a war. Every war comes at an expense, and that expense is at the price of our service members' lives. So I would say, let's take a moment and think about the family members who are right now waiting and praying that their service member make it home safely.
It's important that people understand why this war is causing gas prices to go up. Can you give us a little information about that so people understand what's going on? And that all this is related also to the tariff that President imposed.
Everything is related to the tariff. You're looking at the Strait of Hormuz, where those ships have to come through with our goods. And so there has been a delay with ships traveling with merchandise. And so if they can't come into the country, then there's a delay. So as we are waiting, prices are being escalated. Iran has that oil, and we are looking at how do we access it? How do we share those resources? And it's not happening. Those additional tariffs, those countries are fighting back against the United States, and they're fighting back in increased costs. And those increased costs are being passed on to us. And I don't think it's fair, but how do we fight that?
So we are fighting the increase of tariff because people say, oh, tariff, but tariff is another tax.
Yes.
Okay. We are struggling with gasoline.
Yes.
Okay. We are struggling with when we go to the supermarket, the affordability is not good. The people that are retired are not making ends meet. The program we call the food stamps, but now they call it another way.
It's called SNAP.
SNAP is not working because they're taking those rights away. They're just being very choosy who gets them, and all these caps that really don't help people because Medicaid has a cap.
Yes.
If you have income a certain amount, then you don't qualify. Yeah. If you have an income a certain amount, you don't qualify for SNAP.
Yes.
Basically, people are struggling.
People are struggling. People are tired. And people are losing hope. And Maggie, we have to get individuals in office that have compassion and empathy for people. We have to think about how do we restore that hope to the American public? All they're seeing is everything is coming more and more out of their reach. The health care has gone up. The Affordable Care Act came out and everybody was happy. They were able to finally get health care. And now those same individuals have now had to let health care go because the price went up tremendously. So what did we do for the American people? I would say to the American public, if you have never voted in any election, you need to go and vote in this election because this election is extremely important because if we do not balance off the values of what's happening in Congress with individuals that care about people, that take an oath to Congress and not taking an oath to the president, we will be in trouble. And your vote and your voice counts. And I'm here to be that voice for Georgia 10, but I need your help to get me there, your vote.
Why you think Congress have not acted in favor of the citizens of the U.S.?
I believe that Congress is not acting in favor of the citizen because the current administration is not acting in favor of the citizens. And we have to look at the current administration is in the majority. They own the Senate, they own the House, and just about everything they want is being signed off by the highest court in our land, which is the Supreme Court. So what we are seeing right now is one ideology being pushed to the American people. What happened to the cultures? What happened to the different voices? We're not getting that anymore. We're moving closer and closer to one individual making the final decisions on everything. And until we get more people in office that can right-size those numbers, that we can have more people looking at it objectively instead of just going along with the current administration status quo, things are not going to get better.
And I think the law needs to change. The way things are set up is like he could do whatever he wants. And it's a good experience in terms of that now all these congresswomen and men that are going into office now can work with that because this should not happen again. We should not repeat our history with this situation again.
But this situation will repeat itself, and it will continue if people do not get out and vote. If you do not get out and vote and let the other side continue to increase their numbers, increase their ideology, their values, then it will only get worse. So in order for us to change the path that we're on right now, people have to vote. Before 2027, when the SAVE Act goes into effect, and they might not get the opportunity to vote, or at least more than 600 million, or 65, not 600, but I would say maybe 65 million women would not have the opportunity to vote. And without that opportunity, without voting, we have no voice.
It's important that people understand why she's saying this, why Pamela's saying this, is because if you got married and you change your last name, and now with the No Save Act, you have to go through the process again and prove that you are you. if you are using your husband's last name.
Yes.
And this is important to understand. Can you elaborate a little bit about
Well,
that?
you know, and that's the bureaucracy of the whole thing, and that's what they want to. They want to disenfranchise, discourage people from voting, because a lot of females right now, and as you know, as we progress to 2026, they did not change their last name to their husband's name, so they have this documentation. They have a marriage license that may have a different name. They have this documentation, their ID, their birth certificate has a totally different name. And now the passport, did you get the passport normally is in your birth certificate name, even if you got married. Most of the time, your maiden name is still on that passport. But how many people actually have a passport? And how long does it take to get a passport?
And it's expensive.
You can't, it's expensive, it costs money, and you're not gonna walk in there tomorrow with your passport photo and get a passport. It doesn't work that way.
Well, Pamela, this has been a great conversation. I want you to look at that camera and tell the people of Georgia why they should vote for you.
Georgia, District 10, Georgia as a state. I say voters can trust me because of my values are rooted in a lifetime of service, not only as a registered nurse caring for patients and their families during the toughest time, but also as a retired Army nurse colonel serving 39 years in this country in uniform. I can tell you, I will lead and serve this country with compassion, integrity, and I will put the values of people above all politicians. Because for me, the Constitution, the oath that I take, the first three words, we the people, is extremely important. And I will continue to take that oath to represent the people of Georgia District 10. My oath will never be to we the politicians. Thank you. VotePamDeLancy.com.
Well, we spoke today to Pamela DeLancy. She's running for Congressional District 10.
Yes.
It's important that you go out and vote. Thank you, Pam, for coming to the show.
I would say thank you so much, Maggy Martinez. And the seat got very hot, guys, and I am ready to cool off. So I won't be cooling off outside here in Georgia, but I'm definitely ready to cool off. Thank you so much for the privilege, and I thank you for letting
give the voter an opportunity to know their candidates. This is a conversation that we make hard questions because we want to know exactly how the candidate is thinking, what's their platform, and what they bring to the table to improve the quality of life of your family and your community. This is Maggy Martinez, the Hot Seat Interview. Until next time.